So, first, that was a lot of us this weekend maybe, or hopefully a lot of us were busy with 10, 12, 20 groups all weekend long. That guy was great. So let me start off with kind of, what to do before your open house. And before I start getting to the slides here, it's like, get ready for the stage. I treat my open house like a stage. I treat it like a performance. Like I'm getting jazzed up, I'm getting psyched up. That's my time to shine. It's a great book out there if you have some nervousness. Anybody get nervous when they do an open house? Yeah, a little bit. You're going to meet new people. So there's a great book called The Alter Ego Effect, kind of like being your own superhero and step into those superhero shoes. You can be anything you want to be. So when I'm getting prepped for my stage, my performance, I'm getting my mindset right, I'm getting my attitude right, because that's my stage, that's my time to shine. So if you get a little stage fright, I definitely recommend The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. Getting ready for your open house. Some of the stuff's kind of, easy bullet point stuff. You want to prep your marketing materials. You want to have your flyers ready. You got to have kind of the basics when you're getting ready for your open house. Talk with your lender, get the co-branded, marketing materials, get those monthly payments set up. So you want to have all your flyers ready, your business cards. You also want to study. You want to know your comps. You want to know where the pools are. You want to know where the schools are, the shopping, the parks, the trails, how far it is to major transportation. These are all kind of just the basics of the things that you want to know. And not only know what the schools are, but know where the schools are. So this past weekend at an open house, I didn't know exactly where the schools were, but I knew they were all close by. So I just pulled up my Google Maps and had a tab open on my laptop. And I've barely needed that tab for like 5 years. But sure enough, on Sunday, somebody walked in and said, "Hey, do you know where the schools are?" I'm like, "Yes. Yeah, here, let me show you." So I turn my laptop around and I've got the Google map right there. Instead of like, oh, well, you go 2 streets down, make a right, and then take a left, go behind the park, it's right there. But just have that map and having that resource available. Yeah, Derek was there. So it was neat when she actually asked that question. I was like, I haven't needed that question answered for like 5 years, but I was ready for it. You want to preview the top 2 or 3 competing homes. It's a little harder to do in January when there's no inventory. I get it. This is a classroom, not a vacuum. Real life doesn't always work like this, but if you can get out and preview the top 2 or 3 competitors for that weekend, you'll know exactly what the homes look like. You know what the yards look like. More importantly, you'll know what the homes smell like. So when visitors come to the open house and you're greeting them, you can say, "Where are you coming from?" And like, "Oh, we're coming from that other open house on 123 Main Street." Say, "Great, I saw it too. What'd you think about it?" "Yeah, kitchen's a little tight." "Yeah, kitchen's a little tight, right? What was that smell in that basement? That was weird, right?" They're like, "Yeah, there was something going on down there." But you can't get that from simply just looking on MLS and picking out the top 2 or 3 competitors for that weekend. So if you can, more importantly, preview those top 2 or 3 coming soons, or those top 2 or 3 competing homes, because you get to speak intelligently about them. And then again, that's going to just build your credibility as that neighborhood expert. Of course, you want to get your social media post out there and want to invite your database. Even if your database isn't looking for that townhome you're set up at for the weekend or looking at the single family home, they might know somebody that is looking for that home or that is looking for that neighborhood. So I send it out to my database and say, "Hey, I'm going to be here at Longboat this weekend. If you know anybody looking for a townhome in Fairfax, right next to Burke, pass this along to them. That'll be great." And my bonus point for getting ready for your open house is try to pick a home that doesn't have an open house and schedule it for immediately after, okay? It's a brilliant move. It doesn't work all the time and it doesn't happen all the time, but have that bonus home ready for you, because when you meet that person that's coming in from California and they're only here for a day or 2, you want to have one more home to show them for you. And I have a little bonus gift at the end for everybody that sticks with me on this one. What to do during the open house is now you're on stage, the stage is yours. You want to arrive here 15 minutes early, get set up, get your cards, brochures, sign-in sheets, marketing materials. It's very stressful when you're racing right to your open house from that last appointment. I know we've all done it, but when you can, try to schedule your appointments so that you can at least give yourself time to get to your open house set up properly. I know I start to drip sweat when there's people waiting outside, ready to get in the open house, and you just arrive there, right? And you're like, I'm not even set up yet. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready to start. So try to get there as early as you can to get started. Once your open house is up and running, guest comes in, you want to greet them at the door. Hey, how are you? Where are you coming from today? You want to greet them at the door. This is your open house. Is it hard to do in January when there's no homes on the market and 20, 30 people walk in? Yes, I know. It's very hard to do that. But try to greet them at the door. You want to welcome them to your open house because nobody else is going to greet them at the door. Start the small talk. Hey, we just had the floors redone. If you wouldn't mind doing the shoeless or booties today, whatever works for you. Where are you coming from today? Hey, how'd you hear about us? Meanwhile, they're stumbling on the booties. They're trying to figure out what to do with the kids' shoes, this and that. So start the small talk. Small talk takes the edge off a little bit. Some people say, hey, where are you coming from? Oh, we're coming from lunch. All right, well, where was lunch? Was it Alexandria? Was it Fredericksburg? Where was lunch today? So greet them at the door. And then while they're finishing up just the silly shoe process, you can say, I'm so glad you came to my open house. I've got some information in the kitchen for you. I've got my sign-in sheet. Here, let me show you. And you guide them to your sign-in sheet. You guide them to your station. You want to treat them like your guest. And again, does it always work when you have 10 people right after another? Of course not, but as the spring market tends to thin out a little bit and there's more open houses and not 20 people coming to your open house, you have a chance to really treat everybody like the VIP guests that you should treat them like. Greet them at the door, lead them to the sign-in area, do the more small talk. While they're signing in, and we have, people do QR codes, we do QR codes, we've got sign-in sheets, but while they're signing in, continue that small talk. How'd you hear about us? How long have you been looking? What has you looking at homes? Start to get some of their questions going. Don't keep them there too long, though. You want to actually let them go tour the house. But after you let them sign in, say, come back to me, go tour the home, let me know what you think. Come back to me. I've got some great information to share with you before you head out. And I love that phrase, I've got some great information before you head out, because people will come back to you. And I've had people come back to me when I'm in a conversation, and they're like, hey, you said you had that information for me. So here, yeah, let me show you. So tell them, give them that hook that there's going to be something that they want to see. And as soon as they turn their back to go tour the house, what I'm doing is I'm looking at my sign-in sheet. Did they sign in on the card? Did they put their information in? Did they put their phone number in, their email address? Or I'm using QR code now. On the QR code, you get a little buzz on your phone, or you should get a buzz on your phone. So I get a little buzz on my phone that, yep, they filled out the QR code. So as soon as they turn their back, I'm looking to see, did they fill it out correctly? And I want to know that because now I need to know how much work I have to do when they come back to you. Did they give me an email but not a phone number? Did they give me a phone number but not an email? Did they give me a whole name or just first names? So that way I know how much work I have to do when they come back to me and pass along that great information. When they come back to you, let me back up for 1 second. When they go tour the home, try to greet them when they come back to each level. So if it's a 3-level colonial or 3-level townhome, when they go downstairs, they're going to be down there for 3, 4, 5 minutes. When they come back up, try to greet them at that basement door. Hey, what'd you think of the basement? Yeah, pretty open, right? Right? Did you see the utilities? That HVAC's brand new, water heater's brand new. What'd you think of the guest room? It's nice, right? Okay, great. Hey, let me know what you think of the upstairs. That primary bath's pretty awesome. Go check it out. So you want to try to do this VIP style with everybody. And yeah, hard to do when the open houses are crowded, but you want to give them that good VIP treatment. When they come back to you, there's 2 questions that I always ask, and I've been scripted like this for like 5 years now. And I never forget to ask it. It's, what did you think about the home, and what are you looking for? That really opens up the floodgates of what they're looking for. You have more small talk, find out what they're looking for, find out their pain points, find out what's not working for them in this market. Again, revisit, hey, why are you looking at homes? What's your time frame? Yeah, so they get all that information from them, and you say, great. Let me share with you that information I told you about. So I have on my laptop, and this is where everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I have on my laptop a bright MLS map of every one of our team sales over the last 300 to 400 days. 400 days, you're going to have more homes to show, more red dots to show, more past sales. So that instantly starts to build your credibility. Here, let me show you this. I pull them up a map of our sales, and I say, I'm showing you this because our team has a whole bunch of homes coming to the market over the next few weeks, next few months. You said you're looking in Burke, right? So right now, I know that we have 4 townhomes coming to the market, 2 next week and 2 next month. Here, let me show you this map of our previous sales. You see all these sales in our Fairfax County area? Yep, we see it. Is there a chance you're looking for a home somewhere in this area? Say, yeah, Geoff, we're looking for a home somewhere in this area. Say, great. There was a chance, if I met you last year, I could have gotten you into one of these homes, got into it early, before it hit the market. You could have had an opportunity to make a decision, maybe even sleep on it, but more importantly, make an offer before it actually hits the market. And the benefit of writing an offer before it hits the market is you get to keep, in most cases, all your contingencies. Keep your home inspection, keep your appraisal, keep your financing. Do you see how that would benefit you? Yeah, great. See, and then you go into your scripts. I love some Tom Ferry scripts. I love all the scripts out there. Say, great. Most agents don't have a plan. They just show you homes that you could have found online. You are looking at homes aren't you? Online, right? So great. That's why we've developed a proven strategy. You see how this could benefit you? Yeah, definitely. But hey, look, it's okay if you're working with somebody. We kind of just share this with the buyers that we're working with. Oh, no. We're not working with anybody. No. Okay, well, we do have somebody, but it's a coworker's friend, and we haven't really met them yet. So the moment you start to information dump and give them some value that they're not going to get at the other open houses, then that's when they start to open up and be like, all right, we really don't have an agent. We're really not working with anybody. What to do after? Oh, let me go back one more slide here. Sorry. I've got the clicker so I can do what I want up here. It's a great book, Phil Jones, Exactly What to Say. Everybody kind of familiar with that one? Love that one, right? 23 solid bullet points. There's 3 bullet points that I get the best out of him. Is I don't know if this is for you, but. And that's when I lead into those coming soons. I don't know if this is for you, but had I met you a week ago or had I met you a month ago, you would have known about this property. And then you can go into your coming soon script. I don't know if this is for you, but. What makes you say that? People walk in, they walk into your open house. Oh, yeah, we're just going to wait for prices to come down. We're going to wait for the market to crash. Oh, okay. What makes you say that? And then you get to know, what are they reading? Where they're hearing that from? What type of media are they absorbing? So once you've got them, once you've kind of given them all this great information, coming soons, you just go in and just say, hey, look, here's what happens next. Let's get together, about 30, 45 minutes, talk about a strategy and kind of learn more about each other and see what you guys are looking to do. So here's what's happened next. So those are my 3 points, my 3 fun bullet points that I try to use from that book, Exactly What to Say. And then what happens after the open house? Nothing happens unless you work, right? Money's in the follow-up. That's the easy answer right there. You have to do same-day follow-up. You have to do same day, next day at like the worst case scenario. And the reason why you want to do same day or next day is I know most of you in this room are going to be following up on the same day or the next day. So I want to beat you. I want to beat you too. I want to beat you. I want to beat everybody in this room to the follow-up because they're going to go meet 8 or 10 agents that weekend. Now, of the 8 or 10 agents, not everyone's going to follow up because we know not everyone's going to follow up. But be the one that does follow up. I follow up with a BombBomb video. I love BombBomb. I love video. I've been doing video for 5 years now. You just met them at the open house. They know what you look like. So don't be resistant to video. Definitely incorporate video if you're not using video. So I send a BombBomb video. Sometimes right at the open house, they can see the kitchen I was just standing in. So, hey, it was great to meet with you. I know you just left like 5 minutes ago, but I want to tell you how awesome it was to meet you. And I'm looking forward to sending you that information I promised I was going to send to you. And I will follow up with you in a couple days. I've also been using High Notes. I know John Glutch has been promoting High Notes. High Notes is a nice, cool presentation tool that you can stick a BombBomb video on. And for High Notes, where's my phone? For High Note, I just wanted to share with you, and I have a quick, I have a slide for it. So on my High Notes, I'll share with you what I put on that. So follow up with them with some sort of value, some sort of presentation, something that just continues to build your credibility. Put everybody on e-alerts, even if they're working with somebody, even if they tell you they have an agent, because there's a good chance that they really don't have an agent. They just told you they had an agent to, get off their back. So put everybody on e-alerts because you just never know. And they might not be having a good experience with that agent. There's 22,000 agents, right, and only 20% are really doing all the good work. Set them up on drip campaigns, get them to the buyer consult, invite them to everything. I know everybody in here is tied in with a team or connected with a team, or can be connected. Invite them to everything, and then send them, of course, that information that you promised you were going to send them. And then some final tips for you. You are the expert. Buyers need your expertise. When I was starting off, a little nervous. Had a little stage fright, had a little imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing up here? Never sold a house before. They're not going to see me as the expert. But that's why you put on your alter ego and you be your own superhero. But buyers are coming to you and they need your services. You want to have your commitment objective. Anybody know what book commitment objective comes from? Action Selling. Action Selling is a great book. Check it out. It's only about, 80 or 90 pages long. You can read it twice in like an hour. The commitment objective for me is, all right, today's open house. Everybody signs in. And then that's my commitment objective for the day. So if it's only 2 people, I should have 100% sign in. If it's 10 people, got to work a little harder sometimes. But that's my commitment objective, is to get everybody's information. Consistency is key. Run your plays that work. I use the same speech. I use the same scripts on everybody. And I use the same script on everybody so that I never forget what to say. So I'll say the same script when my colleagues Kevin's shadowing me, or Derek's shadowing me, or Maxine's shadowing me. I use the same script from week to week. And the reason why I know my script is working is because we've met other buyers at other colleagues' open houses, and they're like, wow, you gave us the same information Kevin gave us. Hey, you and Kevin basically had you guys had all the same information. It's like, well, yeah, because Kevin and I train together. Kevin and I work on this stuff together. Kevin and I script together. You won't convert everybody. Don't chase people out the door. I met some open house guests back in November. They gave me fake information. Unfortunately for them, they ran into me 2 weeks later. And because I info dumped on them, because I was the knowledge broker, because I had all the data, and he was a data scientist, he loved the data. Because I had all that, I was like, hey, why aren't we working together? They're like, yeah, I think we need to work together. And they gave me their real names. But they told me they were going to open houses. They went to a whole bunch of open houses before I got to them. They went to more open houses after I got to them. And they said it was embarrassing. They watched one agent chase somebody out the door for the sign-in. You know, so like, don't be that agent. Don't chase people out the door, just because you're not gonna convert everybody. Don't leave a conversation just to try to track somebody down. Like, if you're in that conversation, you're in it. Stay committed to it. Embrace the neighbors. This was the hardest thing for me to do. As soon as somebody walked in and said, I'm a neighbor, it's like, oh, never going to convert you. You're not going to buy this thing. But the moment they say, hey, I'm a neighbor, can you come to my house right after this? Well, yes, I can, Derek. That happened to Derek this weekend after I left. But Derek got the appointment. They could be interviewing you. They could be interviewing you. This is where like my ego went out the window. They could be interviewing you to help them buy something or help them sell something. They can also be spying on the owner. So I don't think that happens that often. It's rare, but it does happen. So make sure you're embracing the neighbors. I also ask the neighbors, what's something about the neighborhood nobody knows about? What's something about the neighborhood that I can pass on to more people that come in today? So now if they come in at the end, it doesn't really help you, but if they come in at the beginning, it really helps you. So then you can talk about how you can go to the high school through that park just down the street. And then lastly, be you and get the appointment. A couple things for you. This is the map that I have ready when I'm going through my pitch, when I'm going through my value proposition. Say, hey, Alex, you're looking for a home somewhere in here, right? Great. We got 50 to 60 coming soons over the next few weeks, next few months. We sold all these right over here by the Wegmans. There's a good chance I'm going to have something coming up. Let me take a look at my database. Let me see what listings are coming up, and I'll get back to you. That's a pretty powerful map. This is our coming soon map. I have this one ready. There's no addresses. If you don't have a lot of coming soons or know of a lot of coming soons, Jay put out a great tip this past week, was have, not the withdrawn? Yeah. Pull up all the withdrawns. So I did that this morning in prep for today. I think there's 125, 130 withdrawns in Fairfax County right now. Alexandria, Burke, Springfield, Fairfax. I didn't look at Falls Church, but I found over 100 withdrawns. The buyers aren't going to know that they're withdrawns. They're just going to see a map that looks like a ton of homes that you're going to find for them. And that's the work. That's the work that I tell the buyer when I meet them. Hey, this is work, guys. You know, most agents don't have a plan. They just show you homes that you could have seen online. You're going to look at homes online. I'm going to look at homes in here. I spend most of my time in here because you're going to spend all your time out there. And hopefully by that point, you've got them. And then I mentioned high note, easy presentations and proposals. It does look like this. I start mine off with a bomb video. I like high note because it's a way to kind of post open house sell yourself without having to sell yourself. But it also works for those Zillow appointments, realtor.com appointments. It works for referrals before you meet them in person. Like, hey, looking forward to our appointment tomorrow at 12. In the meantime, here's a quick presentation on, me, my company, and I've got a nice little personal message to them. I've got my Zillow reviews. I've got a map to our coming soons. It actually doesn't really work. It's just, if you click on it, it's just a picture. But it's kind of the hook to let them know it's there. I've got a link to my website. I've got a link to our company's website. I've got a link to the spring 2023 buying guide. I've got our movement mortgage. I've got HomeBot. I've got our free truck. And if they're military looking in Burke and they want the public transportation, you can have the VRE schedule here as well. So I like to info dump to, again, give yourself credibility, make yourself that neighborhood expert. So, and I think that's the end of my presentation, guys. I do have one bonus point for you. $25 gift card. If you pick out a house that does not have an open house, schedule it, and this weekend, if you take somebody to that house, text me or Bick or Jay or the team leaders and say, hey, I want my $25 from Geoff. So if you do that this weekend, $25 from me.
First of all, Geoff, if I was a client, I came into your open house, I would 100% work with you. I think everything you said was amazing and it was very in-depth. Mine is more so just going to be supplemental and kind of add on to some of the things that he already covered because it was so in-depth. I do have a couple questions for you. I'm going to wait until the end though. But I did really like a couple things that you pointed out. One, the map I think is genius because if you don't have a list of off markets, and if you do and nothing matches, then this is a way to convey to them that you will have something coming up. So I really like that idea. And I really like that you say, come meet with me at the end because I have some great information. I think that's a really clever hook. What I had been doing is something similar but not as good as that, so I might start implementing that too. So like I said, mine is more so overarching ideas. So I have three main things: direct the conversations, body language, and then a couple tips and tricks. So the biggest thing that I think a lot of agents miss out on, like Geoff pointed out, is really you want to establish yourself as the authority. You're the expert, you're the leader, it's your open house. You can guide the conversation and guide them to exactly what you want them to do. So you get them to sign in, you get their feedback, and you also hopefully book the appointment. So how you do that is really the second they knock on the door, they're going to be judging you. Geoff mentioned it could be a neighbor that is looking to hire you to sell their property. Obviously, they could hire you to be their buyer agent, but they're going to be judging you up and down, so you want to smile, make eye contact, be confident, and really just start the conversation by introducing yourself and thanking them for coming into the open. And I usually don't let them walk in until I'm finished with my greeting, and then I usually say, come on in. First, I'm going to have you sign in, and so while they're kind of taking off their shoes, you have them sign in. While they're doing that, you're going to give them a blurb about the home, just your elevator pitch, like some things that they may not have read online. Like one thing that you may not know about this house is it has a really great flat backyard. Our previous clients used to have a playset on there or something that they may not know. Or maybe it doesn't have a house on the backside, so it's very private. You may not have seen that from the maps. So while they're kind of getting their stuff together, getting their shoes off, once they're done signing in, you want to quickly ask questions that figure out their timing and motivation. To me, those are the two most important things because those are going to help you close. So whether they are 6 months out or 30 days out, they're going to be different conversations. If it's somebody that's just casually looking versus someone that's like, I hate my commute right now, I really don't want to be in this house anymore, their pain point is stronger, so they're going to be really motivated to move versus someone that's just kind of starting out their search. So the way you close them obviously is going to be a little bit different. So once you have that, or if you try to get that, if it's really busy, you may not be able to have those conversations with every single person. But if it's a slow open house, you definitely should follow that. So you ask them a few questions, build a little rapport, and then you say, great, thank you so much for signing in. Go ahead and take a tour of the house, and if you have any questions, I'm going to be here. And once you finish, I'll catch up with you so I can get some feedback and answer any more questions you might have. So it sets the stage for, okay, I signed in, I'm going to check the house, then I'm going to talk with her at the end. So you're kind of training them to come back to you. So that's why I really liked your hook, because it sets the stage for, oh, I need to go automatically check in with the person before I leave. And then go in for the close. That is just once they're actually finished with the tour. If you didn't get timing and motivation, get it then, and go in for the close. Try to book that appointment. That's the main goal. Other than selling the house, that's number one. If they're not interested in the house, then really try to book that appointment. I found in my experience it's a lot harder to book the appointment after the open house. As you know, they might not give you the right information, they may not answer. You're gonna have to follow up probably 10 to 15 times, and you may not ever get a reply. So in that moment, just be prepared with certain scripts and remember their pain points, remember their timing, and really just go in for the kill. And don't give up. If they say no or they say they're busy, try again. Not every time you go in for the close doesn't mean you're gonna get it. So you can, if they say no or if they're kind of iffy, start the conversation again, maybe ask another open-ended question and go in for the close in a different way. If they really push back, then you can try setting up a tentative appointment and say, well, how about we just put something on the books tentatively, and if it doesn't work out, you can reach out to me and reschedule. So it really just depends what they say. So this, to me, body language is super, super important. If you're slouched over, or if you're not standing up straight, or if you're not making eye contact, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to feel like you have any confidence. And confidence goes a long way. I'm sure we all know agents out there that don't really sell a lot or aren't very professional, but they get a lot of listings still, and they're still selling. It's who you know and how confident you are in yourself. So posture, obviously standing up straight, you can take up space and be kind of an authoritative figure. Body positioning, what I meant here is where you're standing, I guess, in relation to the door, because a lot of people, when you do an open house, sometimes they try to brush right past you. And they're like, stop talking to me, I just want to go see this house. I'm not really interested in what you have to say. You really kind of want to move around them and, again, show them that this is your open house, you're in charge, this is what they need to do. They need to sign in, take their shoes off, then they go take a tour, and then they come and reconvene with you at the end. So I also like to utilize that if it's a really busy open. You want to try to get as much information out of people as possible. So just kind of stand in front of the door and lead them in and out as you wish. And then when they're leaving, you all know that person that just tries to whip right past you, throw their shoes on and walk out. So stand in front of the door. Obviously you're not abducting anybody and you don't want to be creepy, but just try to stand in front of the door, be open, and really, again, show with your body language that we talked about coming back here and getting feedback, and then just go in for the close. And then it's another opportunity to make sure you have the right information if they do start talking and getting more comfortable with you. Your tone and pace. So try your best to practice and have as many conversations before the open so that you're not speaking too fast or using too many filler words, and also try to understand who you're speaking to. If you can mimic the person, then they're gonna feel more comfortable with you. So if they are a high D and they speak fast and they want value up front, then you've got to be very efficient and concise. And if there's somebody that likes to kind of take their time and they're like, oh, well, I don't really know, then don't necessarily use those filler words, but show with your body language that you're listening to them and you're understanding, you're nodding your head and you're going slow and you're repeating back to them what they're telling you. So that kind of takes practice too, so just do as many opens as you can so you can have all these conversations and really you'll start pinpointing who these people are. And then eye contact and confidence. So eye contact goes a really, really long way, especially when you're closing. So if you're asking someone for the appointment, don't break eye contact. Don't start looking down or up. Just go in for it and say, 2 p.m. tomorrow, does that work for you? And nod your head and smile. I swear that works. I don't know why, but I think it's like this cue that people are like, okay, yeah, 2 p.m. tomorrow. So it goes a long way. Just be confident, even if you're a new agent. Lean on your team sales, lean on other people and their success stories, and just speak of it as it's your own, and people won't question you if you have all those, all the body posture down. So tips and tricks. So Geoff, you already mentioned this, schedule appointments for similar homes, and then get the inside scoop on the neighborhood. So if you're going in for a listing appointment, or if you're submitting an offer for your client and it's very competitive, usually what I do is I call the listing agents who have properties under contract or who have sold and ask them, how many offers did you get? What did it go for? what are people saying about the house? What did you have contingencies, whatnot? Try to do that for your open house, because if you can say to someone who comes in and they're like, oh yeah, we saw that one, just went under contract. You can say, yeah, the Johnsons, they got 5 offers. It went under contract in 2 days. They had 2 with no contingencies. It went for X price. How do I know that? I know the agent. We share that information, and I'm very proactive in the neighborhood. I know what's going on. It'll give give them the impression that, again, you're the expert and you're going to be able to guide them, and it's not you leading them blindly. You have that information that they really want to know. Teasing with off market. So however you want to do this, I think you'll have to figure out your own style. I really liked your idea. If you don't have any off markets or you don't know of any, just tell them that real estate is changing on a daily basis. Every day I get informed of an off market. Now, it may not fit your exact needs, but I'm connected with a lot of different brokers in the area, and we're always sharing off markets back and forth. And not only that, today I met half a dozen of the sellers in the neighborhood. All these neighbors that are coming by, we know them, they know us, they see our signs, they know that we do a lot of business in the neighborhood, and they always come to us first. And so if you want to move into this neighborhood, you need to stay in contact with me, because oftentimes these sellers contact us first, and we can get you inside their home and see if it's a good fit. And then you can go deeper into the conversation and kind of go in for an assumptive close, saying if we work together or when we work together, if we're not finding the right house on the market and none of the off markets I show you are working for you, then I usually go the extra mile for my clients, and I will go door knocking. I will, make cold calls, send out mailers, and really, if you give me a street, I will pinpoint any off markets that I can find for you. And I've done that before. You have to keep your promise if you say that to somebody. And I usually say, and this is true, whenever I go out door knocking, I always find something. My client may or may not buy it if it doesn't fit their needs, but I'm proactively working for you. So this is just one of the things you'll get, one of the services you'll get if we work together, and then you can go in for the close. So we just need 30 minutes to really dive into your needs so I can match you up with the right off market or right property in general. Does tomorrow at 2 p.m. work? So really digging into figuring out what's important to them. Some people might not even care about off markets. Has anyone found that? I have. So if maybe they care about education and the process. So your close has to be molded to what's important to them and what their fears are what's surrounding them with their fears. And then lastly, tell a story. So when you're closing or when you're having a conversation, I find that people relate to you more if you tell a story. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your story if you're new and you don't have experience, but if they say something like, oh, we saw that house went under contract so quickly and we didn't really get a chance to see it, you can say, you're right, it's a really competitive market out there. The inventory is very low and you really need to be aligned with an aggressive agent. I'll tell you, last week I had a client who was in your position, and the seller had received several offers, and I was able to get it for them under contract before the open house. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that we as agents, the experienced ones, can utilize. And if you're interested in learning more about that, then I would be happy to share that knowledge with you and really be your guide through this process. And then again, go in for the close. So if you feel uncomfortable talking about your sales, or if it feels too salesy for you to give them a pitch about yourself, then just tell a story, because you are telling them that you're experienced, but you're doing it in a more natural way. And I think that was it for me.
I love her move about calling the ones that are under contract, for your open house. Because, I look them up. I look and see Johnson's just went under contract, but I hadn't really thought about actually calling that agent, buyer agent or the listing agent, be like, hey, what'd you get? We're doing an open house over here. So that's some next level stuff.
Yeah. Well, it just shows them that you're proactive and that you're the expert, and that's what you want to convey, because people are looking to be guided. They want your expertise, like you were saying. So the more information you can give them, the more they're going to feel like they're missing out if they don't work with you.
And I have to give a shout out to her. I think at one open house you had like 25 people sign in. And another agent who's a pretty big agent, McLean, she's like, you're agent at the open house. Like, I had to wait in line. And and she didn't know my name. But like there was a line, like you were so good at, she was like standing right there, wouldn't let me pass, and I was like, yeah, she's getting people to sign in. So I was like, good for you.
Yeah, there's like, you don't want to be too aggressive, obviously. If people start getting rude, then, you know, obviously you're not going to force them to sign in, but people will, you know, understand that it's not their house. You know, this is your territory. So if they want to see the house, they should sign in.
And we use, for that line, when they try to bypass or do whatever, we said, well, the sellers, we do teach that we block the door, and we say the seller has asked that everybody sign in, and then it's in front of everybody. Now they look like the rude person, and they're like, all right. So in case any emergencies or anything comes up, like during COVID time, it was really easy to say that, and they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
But we would just say that the seller has asked that everybody sign in, and they're like, oh, okay. And then you know right then that they're probably going to give you fake info, but sometimes they will give you the right stuff. And then we'll say the seller's asked because, you know, in case of emergency or anything that comes up, also they might be changing the offer deadline or any information about that, you'll be the first to know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So.
Questions?
I have a question for you. So your BombBomb video,
Yeah.
how often do you get a response from that?
So just like any follow-up, not all the time. The best responses are when they say, hey, great video, never saw a video before, or hey, great meeting you too, great video, love it. So when they do respond, and especially when they respond to the video, that's when you know it's working. But you've got the read receipts on the videos. People are going to watch them, especially when it says play 45-second video or play 1-minute video, you know, because they'll be like, I got 45 seconds for Geoff. You know, I got a minute for Geoff. But if it says play 4-minute video, no, they're not going to watch it. Yeah.
Question on the video. So you said a personal video. Is it the same video you're sending out, or are you dedicating time afterwards to be like, hey, Nadia, like, great seeing you today, or does it vary?
You get above, okay, it's all personal. If it's 10 videos, you're going to be working Sunday night or Saturday night. You know, 15 videos, it's a lot. The buyers that I had the best conversations with, they're getting a personal video. The buyers that maybe had an agent or told me they were working with somebody else, and say there was 5 of them, I may send a generic one. I'll still send it like from the kitchen table or something, but they may get like, hey, it was great meeting you today, you know. But I touch everybody with a video. But if it's great conversation and I really want them, yeah, it'll be a personal video, and it'll just keep me busy for a few hours. No.
I'd love to hear what your best tips are for re-engaging with leads that are maybe, you know, 3 or 4 weeks old. You had a great conversation. What are some of your best tips for re-engaging them that's worked for you?
I would say just don't stop reaching out because they probably are reading everything that you open. They're just not responding. I try to change what I say each time. So one, it might be an off market, even if it doesn't fit their needs. I just tease because if they reach back out, I can say, oh, it's sold. You know, just reach out and say, hey, we have something that might fit your needs. Has anything changed? Or put in a really like kind of catchy subject line in the email, like, have I done something wrong? Or has your search changed? Are you not looking for a home anymore? Has something changed with your timeline? And that will hopefully elicit a response. But really just try to change the message each time. Also, market updates I think are really important right now, especially with the interest rates fluctuating all the time. So sometimes I'll have a subject line like interest rates dropped, and then give them like the new rates, just to keep them informed, because even if they're not re-engaging with you, they are reading it. And if they're not reaching out for an appointment, then you've done everything you can. So you're not going to close everyone, I guess is the way I would say that.
Thank you. Do you end up calling them or texting them or emailing them, or all?
I would do all if you have all their information.
And
yeah.
you just send like the same thing you sent on email
No, I think for the text, I'll usually say, hey, so-and-so, it was great meeting you. It's Nadia from the open house. And maybe recap. If I was very close to getting an appointment, then I would call and then text and then email. If it was someone that I didn't have any contact with, then I would maybe send a text saying it was great meeting you and then send them a follow-up email the next day and then just try calling them every day after that.
So if you have 20 people waiting in line, do you tell them you only have 5 minutes and you get out or something like that? Do you give them like a set time so they're not waiting like a long time?
No, I don't. I think during COVID it was easier to say something like that, but now it's more so just this is the process,
Yeah, I usually say like I like to give people a little bit of space to not feel very crowded in the house. So obviously, you just like let people in as they go. But I say like try, I'm just gonna give them a few minutes if you don't mind just waiting for a minute because I don't want people to feel like overcrowded.
Yeah. And they won't be waiting too long because if it is that busy, there will be people in and out. So at least like have the first person in line sign in, let them in, go to the next person, have them sign in, let them in as people are going out.
You could also have 2 sign-in stations. So if I'm in the dining room set up, I got the sign-in station right there. I do still have the sign-in cards along with the QR code, but if the kitchen's right there, I'll do a second sign-in sheet. And we actually have 4 QR codes. Well, I use 4 QR codes, and I spread them all throughout the house. And I'll be like, hey, there's a line right here, but hey, there's another QR code, like right in the living room right there. If you could just sign in right there, I know it's busy right here. So if you know it's going to be busy, you can add a second sign-in station. Or
I've heard different varying opinions of this, but if people have mentioned that they have a realtor, do you put them on your mail drips?
Yeah, we still do. I only reach out once though. I'm not going to step on anyone's toes, especially if they have their name and they say they're actively working with them. If it's somebody that I think is just loosely working and they are really into the conversation with me and they're asking me questions and they want to meet, then I don't care if they have a realtor because they obviously don't have a good relationship or they're not happy. But if they say they have an agent and they shut it down, then I'm not going to really go further. You do want to follow up and say thank you for attending the open house, but no, I don't push it.
But you still put it on your mail drip?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually ask them if they do have a realtor to write the realtor's name down.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, they're real, because they have their first. Sometimes I don't. I'm like, oh, I know them. They're great.
yeah, we have we have a working with a realtor drip campaign that we set up everybody on. And since they're already not working with you, I treat it as practice. They're already not working with you, so I might actually send a better bomb video. Hey, it was great meeting you today. Hey, I know you're working with somebody else, but I really enjoyed our conversation. If anything changes with your relationship, I'm here for you. And check out our coming soons and our truck and our 2023 buying guide and give them all that great information. And it may go nowhere, but you just never know.
Or you can also ask, is your agent showing you off markets? And if they're like really interested and they're like, no, not at all, then just say, this is something that we offer to our clients and we do have, and just go into your pitch. And if they buy into it and they want to book an appointment, sure. But if they kind of push back and they're like, oh, you can't show me those unless I'm working with you, I'm already working with someone. You'll kind of figure it out from there.
Mm-hmm.
What are you using to generate your QR codes for the opens? Are you using KV Core?
Um,
Or are you using BombBomb or whatever?
I don't know. Jay, do you know? I know our admin support, but Megan, you use them, right?
Ours is just connected through Zapier and goes right into follow-up box. And you can just use Canva for a quick QR code and then scan it.
So we actually put it on the front door. It says please sign in. So there's a QR code. And then Denise has made us little like pocket ones that we can like pull out if like there's a line. And it's sometimes you're like, oh, I can't get it to work, but then it's actually fastopenhouse.com. So you're like, oh, just go to your website and just type this in, and it's the 4 questions that we ask, which then automatically goes into our follow-up box. And I like what Ryan's doing. Ryan is staying after the open houses and contacting everybody before he leaves right away. So I think that's brilliant. I like your idea that we could actually I just thought of this in terms of doing a video from Follow Up Boss right from our phone, that we can send a video right from there, so it's all documented too. So that's part of I think that we could add that into our process too. That would be helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like we now have lots of busy open houses because there's such inventory. It sounds like you work with another agent at your open houses. Nadia, do you usually work with two? I feel
No,
like
it's
sometimes
usually.
there's a line, you can't get to everybody.
Yeah, you can't. So I think in those instances, if you can't talk with everybody, then at least have them sign in. And if you have a point in time where there's a pool of people at the door, either leaving or coming, you can say something like, you know, we have other homes that are off market. If anybody's interested, send me an email with the subject line off market and I will get those to you, or we can start having a conversation. And that way everyone hears and like, oh, what's that? And maybe they might actually approach you and have a conversation, but it'll at least give you, some action or opportunity to have action.
Yeah, we double up a lot on the open houses. I want all the business for myself, right? Like, I don't want anybody there. I want all the business, but I can't get all the business. And Saturday we had an open house on Longboat. Kevin and I were there together, and I was in a conversation deep, and there was a wonderful lead that he'd met, and he got to, run the script on her, work with her, get her information, value proposition her, and now he's got a lead. So we both left a 2-hour open house with one really good lead each. Because everybody else had agents and stuff, but that was great because if he wasn't there, that would have been a great opportunity out the door, and I couldn't have. I wasn't going to chase her, but I didn't have to because Kevin was there, and then my colleague Derek was there on Easter with me. I left a tad early to go to Easter dinner, but left him there for the last 30 minutes, and then sure enough, a neighbor walked in and said, "Hey, can you come look at my house?" So it was great just to have somebody there that, "Hey, I got an appointment, I got to leave," or something. So, and then we'll have listing agents come to our open houses because I only work with buyers. So they'll be there to meet the neighbors and stuff. And
Well, thank you,
awesome, guys.
You were amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.